I can imagine that if there were emails that were leaked or hacked from the DNC today, it would be 10 times worse and more invidious than what we saw under Debbie Wasserman Schultz's watch in 2016 in the desire to do away with Bernie Sanders. And I mean, you can just look at what Tom Perez is doing openly to understand how bad it would be in private. Um, Julian Assange is in prison right now, so it's important to remember that. But the Democrats, what they're showing in public is opposition to Trump through a campaign that nobody in Iowa cared about. Nobody voted on the basis of impeachment. Nobody thought about it when they were making their votes. No one that any reporter talked to mentioned Ukraine Gate or any quid pro quo or Russia. It's not even in the top 10 of issues that concern Democratic voters, particularly in a place like Iowa. And when they appear at Donald Trump's State of the Union, and Juan Guaido, the Pete Buttigieg-like figure who's been self-appointed president in Venezuela, with U.S. taxpayer money funding his salary and his white-collar mafia to just basically hang around and pretend to be president. He's not even the president of the National Assembly anymore. And you see consensus. Almost every single Democrat stood and applauded Juan Guaido. So they're showing consensus for empire, consensus for a project that necessitates trillions of dollars of American bases and waste around the globe that we could spend at home. And that really clarifies where Bernie Sanders stands apart. He stands apart, at least his movement, and the movement behind him, stands apart from that consensus. It stands apart from the consensus on capitalism, where you have Elizabeth Warren declaring that she's a capitalist to her bones. Nancy Pelosi was asked once about socialism, and by a young person at a public forum, and she just shot it down. And that's the threat Bernie Sanders poses. So what we're going to see moving forward is the consensus against Bernie Sanders. And whether it's Pete Buttigieg, if Buttigieg fails, then we'll see Mike Bloomberg enter the fray. And everyone who stands for the consensus will get behind Bloomberg. If Bloomberg fails, they will get behind Donald Trump, because they, meaning the Democratic Party elites, actually have more in common with the interests Donald Trump represents than they do with those represented by Bernie Sanders.